Hey, everybody, before we get in this next podcast with Bob Keller, make sure you go check out Ataclete.com. That's ATACLETE.com. Use the promo code One's Ready. It's going to get you a discount on all spec war equipment. If you're heading into the Navy to be a SEAL, MARSOC Raider, Green Beret Ranger, or CCT PJ, SR, TAC P, doesn't matter. They've got the equipment that help get you right instead of kind of piecemeal it and going everywhere to try and find the right equipment. These guys have got it and they got you situated. So again, Ataclete.com, use the promo codes One's Ready and get yourself a discount. Then you can also go to 18afitness.com. That's 18afitness.com. Use the promo code #1 ready. And then that'll also get you a discount on some of Kevin's programming. He personalizes all his programming to each individual based off of where you're at and the time that you need to, or the time that you have to get to where you need to be before you ship. It also depends on what you want to go be as well. You know, he's got plans for Green Berets. He's a prior Green Beret anyway. Rangers, SEALs, any kind of aspect war as well. So, and it's not just a plan where he kind of gives it to you and says, all right, see you later. Like he's legitimately checking up on you, following up with you and adjusting it as needed. And he's basing it off of what you want to do and how much time you have to get ready. So check him out. And now on to Bob Keller's podcast. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the One's Ready podcast. You're in the team room and you've got me. I'm rolling solo today, but that's okay because I've got a guest on who you have quite the reputation. I've got Bob Keller. He's retired, and I don't know how I should introduce. Should I say that you were part of the unit, or like I don't even know what I can actually say?
Easiest way, yeah,
yeah.
Just, I mean, you can say whatever you want, but I can only say the unit.
Yeah. We'll just leave it at that. We try not to hit the SMU, like go into detail of it, but appreciate you joining us. You got quite a background. I mean, you and I met once when you were at SOCOM headquarters as well as I was, and we were kind of working in the same directorate there.
Yep.
So, but
well, I'm sure our paths had met sometime operationally too.
I don't doubt it, but generally, we all have beards and we're all kind of working at night and, you know,
well, and you guys are, in for 3 months or 4 months, and then you're gone, and then you're back. 2 years later, it's like hard to keep track of you guys. Like at the unit.
I know we're like spider monkeys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you guys do it. It's brutal.
Yeah.
Although you get to meet a lot of new people.
We do. We get to work with a lot of good people. So, and that's what's kind of cool about it. And that's what kind of makes us chameleons and stuff like that. But why don't you go into a little bit of detail about yourself? Because you've got quite a colorful background, and let the people know who you are. Not that they don't already know who you are anyway, because you're pretty well known. hate to tell you.
No one knows who I am.
Hate to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I could go into the whole where I came from and stuff. Military wise, I started out in Ranger Battalion, had a break in service. 9/11 kicked off, and I'd already been out. Started going to college because I thought that's what the next step, and went back into the military. Eventually made it into the Special Forces, and then from there went to the unit. And then while I was at the unit, that's where I met you at SOCOM. So that's kind of where I finished out my career. So that's the whole what I did. So you could basically say all 24 years was in the special ops community. Yeah. Ranger Battalion, is that special ops?
Oh, okay. So you said it. I didn't say it. Okay. So I want to be clear about that.
Hey, I can say it because I was there, right? And if I had never been there, I wouldn't say stuff. And I'll 100% say it because, I mean, I am very fortunate and glad that I did go that route, to have that background and just the different operational tempo and how we do things there. And that was pre 9/11 too. So it was kind of, that was back in 97. So it's kind of like the Vietnam era style still. Like we were still doing like nothing but patrolling, like very little shooting, very little CQB. It was all about like being hard and like just staying out in the woods. So, but that
you guys
was awesome
were hard
to get that experience. Yeah, I liked it. But I mean, I'll tell everyone. So I would never tell anyone not to go to the Ranger Battalion. But I mean, it's straight up a high speed infantry unit, which is awesome. I mean, it's and you got guys there because that's why I think like this is on special ops. If you call yourself special ops and you're there, I mean, you can't get to the point of where we were at being at Ranger Battalion. Yeah, maybe the squad leaders, maybe some of the team leaders, but I mean, you're looking at 90% of those dudes are privates.
Yep.
How much training have they actually got? So yeah, they're awesome. I love the way that they do things there. Hopefully they're still doing that, because it's like you get that mentality of the right kids there to where it's like, hey, you go storm that machine gun nest, right? And they'll be like, Roger that, let's go.
So and they're not scared of anything. They're not scared of anything. So you need that.
Yeah, to say that I was special ops when I was there, it's stretching it. But the majority of my career was in the special ops.
Yeah, I hear you. The funny thing about it, and most people kind of won't know this, but I thought it was hilarious because I used to love being in the directorate at SOCOM and listening to you hold court and tell stories and stuff like that. One thing about you that was you either were or were almost a pro golfer.
Yep, so that's a little bit weird too. Going from that background into the military, and it was. So yeah, I was actually a pro. That is like, you might as well just say semi-pro. That used to be the joke at SOCOM, right? Like everything I did was semi-pro.
Yeah. Well, except for when you were at the unit, that is the pros.
Yeah. So yeah, at my golfing career, I made more money hustling people than I did ever playing on the tour. But that was a good experience too, as a younger kid, like going out and living in hotels by myself and going from state to state every other week or every week. Good experience growing up. But it was like, I think it was either Mississippi or Louisiana. No kidding. I missed the cut on one of the tournaments. And it was either go to the next tournament and start practicing, or you stay there and just freaking get bombed. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I realized, like, at that moment that the only reason I was playing golf was to make money. Like, it wasn't because I actually truly loved it. And I think I was probably sitting in the hotel room and I was like, what am I really doing? What is my passion? What have I always wanted to do? And it was living out in the woods doing like military crap, and I literally packed up that day, drove to Florida, and 2 days later I was in the military. Like, at least signed up as.
And that was when you could just roll up to a recruiter and you could show up on a Friday and you ship on a Monday kind of thing. That is not the way it works.
I don't think I actually shipped, but I mean, like, I was signing, like 2 days later, signing the paperwork. So I went in there. I was like, hey, I know there's a Ranger contract. I want it, and they tried getting you to do other things. It's like, well, I'm not signing up until I get the Ranger contract. And sure enough, they did it and signed. And then however many days after that, I was at basic training. Like, all of my friends at that point were all golfers, right? So they were like, what just happened?
Yeah. You don't love this life? Well, the reason why I bring it up is because I thought it was fascinating, because you said one of the reasons why you didn't go as far as you could have is because your golf game was great, long, medium, but when it came to, if I remember right, your putt game, like you said that you would get almost like a shooter anxiety, or I forget what you had called it, but
the yips.
The yips. So I thought it was fascinating because you're like, okay, it's high stress, high intensity in terms of like, you've got to make this shot. And then you were extremely successful and continue to be extremely successful at the unit. And then in Gamut Resolutions, which is your shooting company. I mean, I don't know. I make a correlation with that because I'm like, okay, you're out on a putting green and you're putting and you're taking either a long shot, short shot, and you get the yips. But yet you can go into doing stress tests and shooting drills and you got a grouping the size of a quarter. Like, to me, that's like, it doesn't make sense.
Trust me. It was actually one of my concerns when I was in OTC, the operators training course. So that's when, for all the viewers that don't know about it, like after selection, you go to OTC. and it is huge. Like the shooting program's huge, right? I mean, and you got to be shit hot before even like doing the CQB stuff. And I am not kidding you. Like that was a genuine concern of mine. Like I was like, am I going to get to the point where I'm doing like precision shooting and I'm going to get the yips? Like I thought, because you could easily do that with the trigger finger, right?
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like,
but it never came out. And then it, like people always ask about like stress on target. Like to me, like shooting with buddies or going out and getting on the clock and getting nitpicky, and especially when it's like during drills with your buddies, like that is more stressful to me than gunfighting. Like gunfighting was never stressful to me, and I think that's why I sucked at like putting. It's the you want to win like too bad. Like I thought about it too much, right? Like I can't miss this putt because it's going to be embarrassing or whatever, and that would get into my head, which caused the yips. But like on target, stress wise, I was never stressed out because in a gunfight, you're not on the clock. No one can see your misses. Like you can actually have like imperfections and no one will know about it, right? So to me, it was never about getting shot was stressful. It's always about being the best. But in a gunfight, people can't tell how fast you're shooting and how good you're shooting, right? So
no, it's only a life or death situation. Okay.
But that's what people like freaked out when I say, because like, really, it wasn't about like, I would be stressed out being shot. I could have cared less if I got shot. Yeah. That was never a concern of mine. No, mine was being there the first and being the best. Right. But then when it comes to everyone else shooting, they can't tell how good or how fast you're doing it. So there was no stress for me.
No, that's extremely true.
The shot clock, 100%. That actually, to me, causes stress. Because you can't lie about the time. It's right there, and everyone sees your misses. So
they either see the dirt getting spit up behind the target, or they don't hear the ding.
Yep. Yeah. So
I always thought that was funny how that translated, because I was like, okay, I don't see how that is, but when you break it down like that does make sense, because like I feel very comfortable on target. Like, firefight, target, we're fine, but as soon as you get that beeper behind me, it's game on.
Yep.
And
it's how it's always been.
Just slinging rounds. Just where'd that one go?
Yep. Yeah.
Cool. Well, being, with the Rangers and then going SF and then eventually being up in the unit, you had lots of time to actually work with Air Force, because we tend to, attach to all three of those organizations, to include some others. And you had mentioned it, we always kind of do shorter rotations. We would never do a full rotation, except for at the unit. They usually do that. But, so you get to meet a lot of us. And I just like, one of the things that I wanted to kind of bend your ear on is, what has been some of your experience? And I understand, like, for the viewers out there, we have not pre-gamed this. So I actually have no idea what Bob's going to say. I mean, he could come out and go, "You guys are the biggest fucking joke out there." Maybe he could. So I actually have no idea what Bob's going to say.
I don't hold back. So I would. People,
I know.
People that know me, I don't, like when it comes to tactics or gear, I mean, I don't ever hold back. I don't sugarcoat anything or sugarcoat anything.
So if you are going to say something bad, all I do is ask that you don't say any names. But what has been your overall experience?
When it comes to, and so my SF trip, I only did one rotation with SF team, and it was just I hate to say regular JTACs, but it was like the JTAC guys that were attached to like SF teams, because you guys weren't attached to SF teams, right?
Yeah. So we have SEAL teams, SF teams,
but the CCT guys, CCT and.
Well, it depends. We would always try. Yeah, we would always, if there were enough of us to go around, we would be with SEAL teams, SF teams, and then obviously the SMUs. But if not, then TACPs would take those roles.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know if it was attack P or
whatever, because we're all Air Force Special Warfare at this point anyway, so
okay,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so like and I'm stupid on all that stuff. I was just a shooter, man.
Hey, I got it, man. You were Bravo, which totally makes sense because, like, guess what? Gamut Resolutions is it's out like, there teaching LEO.
You got some Air Force guys coming. All right, cool. What are they doing?
Yeah.
No, but the guy we had two different ones attached because the trip in Iraq for SF was a full year, so had two different guys there. Just phenomenal dudes, and then when you get to the unit, you're always rotating through. So I don't think we ever had one of you guys like multiple times. It was always someone different,
someone new.
And I thought like the coolest thing for you guys, for one, I thought depending on personality, that is kind of cool to be able to rotate through and meet a lot of different guys and see like how different teams do things, how different troops do things. I thought that would be kind of cool. I thought the biggest thing that I can think of for all the guys that I've ever worked with on your side is just the professionalism. And
that's kind of surprising for me to hear.
Like staying, I know how you guys are on the outside. I'm talking on target. But like the whole, just kind of like I would say I was on target, like just the staying calm and knowing your job, knowing what you're doing, like because I've seen it on the other end when you're talking about some of the guys that might have like at one time they were teaching SF guys like to do your job. I can't remember that program, whatever
the JTAC program,
like calling support, right?
Yeah.
But I've seen people on target on the regular side too, the guys that we ran into on target, and like just a straight up shit show, like not being comfortable what they're doing, not being sure of what they're doing, and just freaking out. I thought that was from all the guys that I've worked on your side, just the calmness of being on target, knowing what you're doing and like while you're talking to the aircraft, like it's just like holy shit, these guys. It was like another day in the office.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and it's interesting you bring that up because, SEALs and SF, like generally they want to, and I get both sides of it. They want to keep everything organic and team centric. Like, why would you want an external person being attached to you, especially an Air Force dude, like whatever. So I get that aspect of it. So why not train our own folks to do it? But then you also, on the other side of it, you have an entity that like, this is what we do. This is what we specialize in, whether it's being a JTAC or whether it's PJ with medicine or SR doing reconnaissance and that kind of stuff. So why not leverage that? Then you get to keep all of your shooters, all of your guns.
Absolutely.
And we're an additional gun, but we also have that air expertise that we can bring. So like, I can see both sides of it. Nobody really wants an outsider attached to them unless they have had the experience and go like, okay, well, this kind of makes sense.
Well, see, and then you say like, no one wants an outsider attached to them. I would think that if anything, that's coming from higher up leadership because team guys are all for it. Like hell yeah, bring those guys in. Like we love these guys. I mean, because that's just like you were saying, it's one less thing we got to worry about, right?
Right.
So I can actually just be a shooter. So it was like the professionalism on target, and I thought it was cool. Just everyone that I've worked with on your side is just the ability to adapt to different teams. I don't know if you guys actually take classes on like being personable, but that's a huge thing. I mean, I got one guy. I got rid of a guy on my team for not having people skills. So that might just be something. People that go in the Air Force are smarter dudes. Better choice.
I don't know. Maybe we assess and select better, but I don't know if we're smarter.
Yeah, but I thought it was like, and there might be some dudes out there that I haven't worked with that are like they're not that person, but everyone that I worked is just. I thought it was kind of cool, like because you have to depending on what troop that you're getting assigned to.
Yep.
Like you got to adapt to like because every troop's going to be different too, right? So and you want to get along with everyone. So I thought that was kind of a cool aspect, is being able to be it's one guy that's never met anyone, right? And you're coming into a troop of, we all know each other, and you're this new guy. I thought it was really good that, like, being able to come in and actually have the people skills to get along with everyone, because no one that I worked with was, like, talking to other teams, be like, oh yeah, Dave's a big shitbag, we don't want to freaking talk to him. Like, everyone loved you guys, so I thought
that's good feedback. No, we don't take classes on it, but I think because we know that we're going to be in that role, and
right.
and I'm sure if somebody's first or second attachment, like, there's a lot of learning that goes on there. Of like, okay, well, this time I'm with the Navy, so I've got I've got to adapt to these guys, and now I'm with the Army. Now I got to adapt to these guys, and then I'm also working with planes all the time too. So I've still got to be able to speak Air Force as well. So there is a lot of that. Going back to the stress on target, obviously, Ranger School, the Q course for SF, OTC, and ours, we do a lot of stress inoculation. What are some of the things that you guys would do for stress inoculation, and follow on to that is, what do you think, like, the importance of that is, especially being calm on target?
Yeah, that's a good question. I get asked a lot.
Really?
So for one, I don't think you can't train for it. Like having the right mindset and not being scared. There's nothing you can do. You and I could be on the range. I could be on one side, you could be on the other side, and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to put you through some stress, and I'll start shooting at you, right? Just so you can, like, hear the bullets, like, oh my God, someone's shooting at me. But I'm not going to shoot you, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, even if you had stuff like that, and you're doing live fire stuff, and guys are shooting at you, like, not that we do that, but I'm saying you would still know that guy's not going to shoot you. So that's not the right. You can't train for that stress.
Yeah.
Like the mindset. I'd say pre 9/11, we thought, or I'm sure maybe it works for some people, but for me, it was the whole getting the heart rate up, doing burpees, throwing the sandbags over your head, running over freaking hills, coming back down, then shooting. Like, just getting your heart rate up would be kind of stressful, or that's going to somewhat simulate that. To me, that didn't work at all. Like, the mindset for me, I think the reason why. And I think this could work for the majority of people if you can truly believe this. Why I was never stressed out on target, and why I actually liked getting shot at, is because my whole life as a kid growing up, I dreamt of that happening.
Yeah.
Like, I would, sounds freaking stupid, but I would watch Vietnam movies as a kid and be like, I would think most people are going to watch those movies and go, oh man, that's a shitty situation, right? Like, I'd watch those and be like, oh yeah. I'd go to the next movie hoping that there'd be better gunfights, just so I could watch and pretend I was in it. So I actually, no kidding, growing up, I always wanted to be in that situation. So the first time it actually happened, my first gun for the first time, it wasn't even a gunfight. First time I got shot at, instead of thinking, oh my God, I could get shot, it was like winning the lottery. 100%.
Yeah, it's like, oh, where they at?
Because my whole life I'd wanted to get in a gunfight. So when it finally happened, this is my chance. This could be my only chance. I might not get another gunfight. I couldn't get to that gunfire fast enough.
Yeah,
because I wanted to be in that situation. So I tell LE guys, agency guys, and I mean even civilians. I think if anything. For me, training mindset wise, or getting into a good mindset to when, if you ever get in a gunfight, you might not be stressed out. Every day you wake up, especially for people that are cops that are going on the street every day with a chance to get in a gunfight, you got to wake up every day expecting a gunfight to happen and accepting the fact that you're going to get shot that day. If you can accept it, or expect it and accept it every single day, and just think, okay, today's going to be the day I'm going to get a gunfight, and I don't care if I get shot. Well, then when it finally happens, if you've thought of that, for that many years, when it finally happens, you've already accepted that. Yep, I'm going to get shot today. Who cares?
Yeah,
so
I mean,
you're stressed out. You're actually going to want to be there in that situation.
Yeah, and you're training a lot of LEO recently, now that you're retired and you've got the Gamut Resolutions and stuff like that. But
yeah, it's probably, I'd say it's the majority. The majority of my classes are LE or agency classes now.
have you okay, so to relate to what you were talking about in terms of, I wasn't watching Vietnam flicks, but I was watching your and as unrealistic as they are, right? Your Lethal Weapons, your diehards,
Yep,
you know,
yep.
And that getting in that first, or having not gotten into a firefight yet at that point, and like the viewers will be able to relate to this, is you're looking for validation, and for me, and I don't know if that's the right words for it, but you're looking for validation of not just, you know, all the training that you received, all that you put yourself through to get where you're at, but also, you know, am I going to be that type of person that runs towards it or runs away for it or freezes?
Yep.
And we need, like, I even now, I already know what I will do. Like you know, you and I, we both know what we'll do because we've been in that position many times.
Right.
And even now I'm still like, okay, well, if it's this situation, what do I do? Or what am I going to do? And I already know, but I still need that validation. It's really weird, and it's probably not healthy, but that's the way I feel. I don't know if you're in the same boat as
No, that is definitely a factor that goes into it. Is, you know, like I think just training wise, like when I went through Ranger Battalion, and you have, even though it was not as much training as I eventually got, like you like learn all these skills, right? You learn the patrol, and you learn how to do the react to contact and all the stuff you want it to happen to see if, like, to validate it, right?
Yeah.
And then it doesn't happen, and then that's why I went back in, because after I got out before pre 9/11, and then it kicked off. I was like, I just missed my chance. Like, I wanted to go to war with these guys.
Yeah.
But going back to like mindset and like getting ready for a gunfight. No one's ever going to know how you're going to react.
No,
like you can't. So it could be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do to, like, get yourself ready for it. Like, you're not going to know until you actually get bullets from a bad guy wanting to kill you go by your face. Like, you're not going to know how you're going to react. Some people, because you can talk the talk all day long, you know, for years and years, and I don't know if you've seen them, but I've seen dudes that were like the guy. Like, you would look at him and, you know, just badass guy. You're like, oh, this dude's gonna be a gunfighter, yeah. Right? And when it came time to it, didn't like it.
Yeah, froze.
Like guys like that had never been shot at before, and then when they finally did, even though they talked a big game, when it actually came time to doing it, they didn't like it. And I would never look down at a guy like that, because you can't. You're not going to know until you actually have been tried, or someone's tried to kill you. But I've also seen guys that you look at and you're like, this dude's straight up, like he is not going to be able to cut it. And then you know, like first deployment with him or first time on target with him, the dude's just a absolute savage. You know, no fear at all. So, and
not just that, like, and you know, of course, it's some you know, skinny dude that always runs, never lifts weights, and yet they're yanking some fully kitted out dude out of a freaking, you know, they're just throwing him on their back and running across the street, or a Humvee got blown up or whatever it is, and they're just yanking this dude out, and you're like, dude,
would have never thought. No. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, when it comes to like gunfighting, people. That's like probably the biggest question I ever get, and you can't really prepare yourself to it except going out and getting shot at by a bad guy. You know,
which I don't necessarily, which I don't necessarily recommend going.
Don't go do it on purpose.
Yeah,
but
you know what? I'm gonna find something out.
if you're gonna cut it or not. You know.
Yeah, and you know what? It's for those folks, and like I would feel the same way if I were coming in. And I spent 20 something years and never got in a gunfight. Like I would be a little bit like, man, I didn't get it. Like I would feel, you know, but at the same time, like you won't get the chance. You likely won't get the chance if you don't come in and at least give it a shot, you know? So I just, like I said, I'm sure that there's some psychology books or something out there that going like, you know what, these dudes are definitely not right.
Wacky, but just think how many guys are like us that missed their opportunity because there was no wars going on. Like, I feel bad for the guys going now, that are coming in after everything had settled down and now making it to your level, SF level, unit level, that aren't going to get the chance. I mean, who knows, when something else kicks off, that they're going to spend their whole career and not get what we got to do. Like, I mean, I feel, can't think of the word for it. Privileged to be able to kind of validate what I was thinking. Like, I want this to happen. I want this to happen. Well, like, am I going to be able to react in the right way? Well, I know I did because we got the opportunity to get in a lot of gunfights.
No,
but I mean, a lot of guys now aren't going to get that opportunity. So,
no, you're exactly right. And the only way that we can kind of pass that along is to try and mentor those folks and train them and assess and select.
Yeah.
To the same characteristics and situations to the best of our ability to, get them to come in. It's just like, you talked about, you can't replicate it, whether you're doing a bunch of PT right before doing a stress test and shooting or like whatever. Like, that's one of the ways that we do it in the pool, right? So it's not just a pre-scuba for dive school. It's we're going to take your breath away because it feels like you're going to die. Like, that's as close as we can get to making you think or feel that you're going to die. And now we want to see how you react. If you're going to cave, then okay, well, at least we know that now. And, now we decide whether we're going to select you.
Should have trained harder. Should have trained harder. Held your breath longer.
To right until you pass out.
Man, I love one man comp. I thought that was fun as hell because I knew I could hold my breath for like 5 minutes. So like I was like, these instructors I know can't hold their breath longer than I can.
Isn't that funny? As a student going through, you know that you're maybe not at the time, but the instructors definitely know that you are better in the water than they are, that you as a student can hold your breath longer than they can because they're not training to it every single day, but they would never let you know that.
That was the best school I ever went to, for sure.
Wasn't it? You went to Key West too, right?
Yeah. That doesn't hurt. Being down there the whole time.
No. Were you what time of year did you go through, if you remember?
I think it was it was sometime late summer because it was the hurricane season, and we actually got evacuated for a hurricane.
Really?
So all the tests had already been done, all the written tests had already been done, and we had already done our final. I don't know what they call like the FTX, where when you go out and do the dive, you come in, you pre-pull everything, or like sink it to the ground, then go back up and do the hit. But we'd already done that. We had like 2 days left, so I didn't actually get a graduation at Key West. We were actually in Orlando. They evacuated us to Orlando, and that's where we finished up dive school. So it was sometime late summer.
Yeah, I was a summer one too, and it was so hot down there. And I remember not just going out for the runs, but some of those swims where it was that water was so hot you couldn't wait to get out of the water because you're like, dude, it's like swimming in a hot tub right now. And again, you're on the nav board. If you're lucky enough to be the one on the compass. So you're on the nav board and you're just finning. And if you're the buddy, you're just like, you got nothing to do.
I would have way rather been graded every single time doing the nav than being the freaking buoy guy. Yeah. Because that was just the board. And the nav guy's like, it's his grade, right? So he's like hauling ass. He's on the board. You got to keep up with the guy, stay with them, and you got to be looking out for them. Shit. I've funny story on that. So I was the buoy guy. You're supposed to make sure that they're not running into anything and they're coming up to anything. Well, I'm daydreaming up there, just swimming above them. No kidding. Hits like, I don't know, a piece of coral or whatever, like with his head. And he's just swimming. Like he didn't even know what had happened. And he's still finning. I'm like, so I kind of pass him. I'm looking down like, what is he doing? and no kidding, he was like stuck on something underwater, couldn't go any further. But I wasn't able to see him, like, because I was daydreaming or whatever. So he ran into something. It was totally my fault. Because it sucks being the buoy guy. I mean, it's just boring as hell.
And I don't know what happens when you get on that nav board, like what switch flips, because you can go from being just kind of an average finner or even slow, as the buoy guy. But as soon as you get that nav board in front of your head, you know that you got a task and you get locked in, and you're going ham, and you don't feel like you are, but you are just.
Yep. Yeah, that's why it was the worst being the buoy guy, even though you weren't being graded.
No, not fun at all. So
where do you guys do your dive school now?
So we've got ours.
You guys do it in house, right?
Yeah, we've got one down in Panama City. Basically, we got to the point where Key West couldn't facilitate. I mean, because their priority, it's Army-run school, so their priority is Army, and we were sending kind of too many folks to it. Gotcha. So we were starting to get a backlog, and we wanted to open up our own dive school anyway. That way, it kind of goes back to that. Hey, do you want to source things organically, or do you want to rely on other people? Well, in this case, we wanted to be able to do it organically. So we set up at the same marine location as the Marine Dive School in Panama City, and do it that way. If we can't hold enough people, we'll still send people to Key West, but it's on like a onesie twosie kind of basis. Which
that sucks for all the SF guys. So when I went through, it was still, you guys were sending everyone there, Another funny story, I guess, like, said you guys were all professional and, couldn't say enough about you operationally. Not down there.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm this fat, I was in shape, but fat SF guy, I'm older when I went to dive school, and all these young guys coming through the pipeline, Air Force dudes, they're going through the pipeline. They are in shape, right?
Yep.
So, like, you're down there. You just want to, for one, you don't want to get fucked with, because you're like SF guys. Most of us are older when we go down there. I don't want to play the games, right? And then you get you guys coming. They're all 18, 19-year-old dudes. That's part of their pipeline, and they'd be, of course, screwing off and shit because it's real easy for them. And like, so it would be like mass punishment. You're doing flutter kicks on the gunnel, and we're all like, shut the hell up, right? And the kids are like just laughing. Because they're like, this is fun, right?
Yeah, right, guys. So
that was like Air Force guys there. I was like, holy crap, these guys are freaking like nonstop, and they would screw with the instructors just for the hell of it. Yeah. But we would all get punished, mass punishment. So
yeah, it's the same way at airborne school too. It's just, they're like, God, well, you guys just shut up. And every time you're doing push-ups, flutter kicks, you're never actually counting. You're always saying 0, 0, right. 0. God, you guys shut up. Yeah, I remember being in Key West, and we were playing water polo, which is always so much fun. That or like underwater hockey, right? And it's really a drowning session is what it is. It's really, it builds aggression. It's awesome. But I remember kind of taking one of the instructors down to the bottom of the pool, and he made me pay for it later on in the course, but he got pissed. He came up because I held him down there for quite a long time. And he got pretty upset with me. And then later on, I definitely paid for it, but it was worth it at the time.
Yeah.
So you're working with a lot of LEO now. So what do you got going on over there at Rangeworks and Gamut Resolutions?
Gamut Resolutions, I'm nationwide, so I'm literally all over the country all the time. Rangeworks is our range facility down in Florida, so it's about an hour due east of Tampa. So that's it's a membership only range. We do let other instructors come and rent the bays to give classes out there. I give classes out there, but I have my own facility in Florida, and this is where I live, and I probably only do 6 classes there a year. Like the rest of my classes are
you're on the road
out of state.
That's crazy.
And we do competitions out there, but that's Yeah, if you need to come down and see the facility. That'd be.
I know I do.
Good thing.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Well, you saw when it was you came, were all the bays up when you came over?
You were still working on some of the bays, and because you had a lot of the dirt was still tilled up and everything like that, and you were living on the. What's that?
It's pretty much established now. We have 17 different bays out there. RV hookups are now up. The bathrooms are up. So it's basically established now. It's just doing landscape and stuff.
Jeez, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, you were traveling your ass off. I mean, you had already had the place bought, but when you were still active duty, every weekend you were gone.
There was. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like I'd do a class in Texas, and when I get done with the class on Sunday, I would leave that like right after the class, and I'd drive straight through. And there was times where I literally drove all through the night, and then just went right to SOCOM, from the drive, with no sleep, just so I could be there Monday. And I was doing that quite often. So when I retired, it was like holy, like it was a big relief.
Yeah, big break for you.
That just made me, be able to put more classes up. So I'm just as busy now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I try and keep track of you a little bit. I know that you're super busy. But I saw that you guys had a competition out there.
Yeah,
a couple months ago.
You need to get some of your guys and get a team together and come do the Gamut Challenge.
Boy,
it would be fun to see like how you guys did on it. So like this next one is in November, so coming up here shortly, and we got Team Staccato. So they're bringing 5 guys from Staccato. Almost all of them are ex-military guys. I think most of them are Marines. But then Cry Precision put a team together, so it's going to be Team Cry against Team Staccato. It's all individual because it's part of the challenge, but they're going to kind of do like an internal thing. But there's I think 3 guys from Cry that are ex-unit guys.
Oh, geez, so, come on.
They're old and retired, but it's going to be interesting to see how they do against like everyone else, because we had some the last one in February. We had some civilian studs.
Of course. I mean, there are people that live and breathe this. No matter, I mean, even though they haven't been, on target, if you will, like they are practicing every day.
Yeah. So, and ours is structured a lot. It's not like a tactical games or other ones out there. I mean, it's like each individual starts out in the morning by themselves, and once you start, time never stops. So as you're going to different events, your clock is still ticking. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of running in there, rucking in there, there's obstacle course in there, and then all the shooting stages. So, but the shooting part is a huge factor in it. You can't just come there and be like a big CrossFit dude, like like the nationally ranked CrossFit guy that doesn't know how to shoot. You're not going to win. Like I'm sure like some of our drills that we do, you got like a 15-second or 30-second like miss time. Like if you miss, you had 30 seconds, forever.
Yeah.
At the Gamut Challenge, some of the misses, like each miss is worth 5 minutes.
Oh.
Added to your time.
Yeah, that's a long time.
You have to be able to shoot. So it's very physically demanding, but you also have to be switched on shooter. So it's not only accuracy; it's all a lot of the shooting stages are timed too. So if you're accurate but not fast, you go over time. I mean, most of them are like a 5-minute penalty for just going over time on the event. So those add up.
5 minutes. 5 minutes is a big penalty.
Yeah. Because if you have 5 of those 5-minute penalties, man, that's 25 minutes knocked off your time. That's very hard to recover.
Yeah, but a Staccato team, a Cry team. I mean, obviously, I don't. It's not. It's about the shooter, not what it is. But I mean, both have got great products anyway. I mean, Staccato is like the Ferrari of freaking, pistols.
Yeah, they'll have a little advantage on the pistol side.
Yeah, but you actually helped helped design a rifle, didn't you? Not a staccato rifle, but you helped design a rifle, and you've got your own rifle series.
Yeah. Through SOT, I got just one signature series rifle. So I got with SOT and basically built the gun that, like, if I had my choice of what gun to bring overseas again, like that's how I built that gun. So I have nothing to do with.
Amber alert!
We're having some alert. It's not a hurricane again down here. Yeah, so I don't have anything to do with the build. I mean, that's SOT, but that's like the gun is set up exactly how I would want the gun to go to my next gunfight.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's signature rifle.
That's awesome, man. Well,
yeah,
dude,
so that was fun.
I know that you're a pretty busy dude, and you're probably about to go hop on another call and freaking talk. And you got your own radio show too, right? Is it a radio show, or are you like
we had a radio show in Tampa that actually got switched, so I haven't jumped back on that one. But now we're doing the podcast that we used to do when we worked together.
Yep.
Think Aim Fire podcast. We're doing that now on a different. That is on a radio show, but it's the podcast is during the radio show. So
okay.
So
you had taken a break for a while.
What's that?
Yeah, you had seemed like you had taken a break from that for a little while.
Yeah, Lee Williams, the guy that I did the podcast with, he ended up moving, and then when he came back, we started back up. So we've been doing that for a couple months. That's
awesome. Well, man, where can people find you on Instagram and on your website?
Oh, geez, I'm the worst when it comes to this. So I think the Instagram one is at Keller Gamut Resolutions for Instagram. I couldn't even tell you what the Facebook one is. I think the easiest way is if you want to follow me or see what I'm doing, just Google my name, and then like the Instagram and the Facebook one come right up. I think it's like the first thing that pops up. So that has my handles on it, whatever you call those for Instagram or Facebook. The website, if you want to look at when I'm doing classes, GamutResolutions.com is the website. That's where like my rifle's on there. I got a signature sling now out. That's on there. DVDs are on there, and then like all my schedule and all the other stuff's on there. So that's the easiest way to find stuff.
Yeah, I've got you up in here. What I'll do is I'll just put it down at the bottom. There'll be like a bottom banner, and I'll put those websites and that Instagram on it. That way folks can find you, because you got a good following. Got more followers than we do, my man.
Yeah, it's free. I'm sure you know, like, have felt that now. It is hard to get followers now, like with the algorithms that's out there, especially talking about military stuff and gun stuff
or guns. Yeah.
Yeah, the algorithm doesn't like that. So,
well, I don't know if it would be for this one, or if you would even want to get into it, but it would be interesting to get your take on the kind of Uvalde kind of stuff, even though that's kind of past. But it's up to you. I don't know. We could bring it back on, or you can see what your thoughts on it right now. I don't know if it'd even be worth, kind of talking about, because it is a sensitive topic.
Well, I would say that's a longer topic. Like, if you
very much so.
Like, to do another one of these, absolutely. I would say we do like that, and we could talk about stuff like that because we could talk about other situations too.
I'd like that, because I think
I would say have me back on, and then we can talk all about that stuff, and not like our past,
not shortchange it. Yeah. Just because, like, man, we dipped our toes into it a little bit when we start talking about mindset and everything like that. And I think that goes into a whole nother thing. And I know that Trent and Aaron, my co-hosts on here, would love to dive into that topic as well. So we'll definitely make sure that they can. Of course, I scheduled this in the middle of the day, and neither one of them can make it. But that's okay. Sorry, guys.
Gives us an excuse to do another one then.
That's right. I'm in, man. Awesome. Well, appreciate you joining us. And then everybody that's out there, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave us a review, visit many of our sponsors that we have. So, Bob, appreciate you joining us again. Thanks a lot.
See you guys.